Greetings. How's everyone? There is a little bit of a delay between what I see and what you see. So I just wanted to see who's on. Okay. So today I'm going to go through 3 questions that I've received, and hopefully you can see me fine and everything is all well and good. The first question, before I do that, I want to say thank you for being here. Sorry for some of the technical difficulty with actually sending out the email to remind you this morning. Apparently, my management system is down right now, and so things have been going out slower, and I had zero control over that. So I apologize for the delay in you receiving a reminder. And I wanted to thank you for being here. My name is Deborah Watts. I am an authenticity coach, and I'm really excited to be here. I have a lot of great news for you. This is the first live Q&A that I've attempted, and I'm really, really excited because these are some of the questions that you've written into me before, and I wanted to address them. I will also be sharing with you some really cool information about some things that are coming up. So if you could please just let me know that you're here by typing in the chat window and just type your name, and just that way I know you're here. And I don't think it'll be shared, but I just want to know who's here. Okay. Another thing I wanted to say was that I'm really grateful to everyone who has written me or called me or texted me with feedback. It's very, very helpful to me in my decision-making process and my design process when I hear back from you. So keep it coming. I'm really super excited about that. It feels really weird to see my face in delay on the screen, so forgive me if I look a little odd at times. I'm still getting used to this setup. So some really good news. You may have gotten a message from me on Facebook or a text, but I am super excited that my first website is up, www.transitionarygirl.com. I'm pretty sure I put it in the description box, so you can check it out. Please let me know if it's clear. I tried to make it simple. I tried to make it explanatory so that if you go on there, you can find out everything there is to know about coaching and with me, and also about what the point is and who it's good for and all that good stuff. So please just let me know. Just take a look if you could, 5 minutes or even 1 minute, whatever time you have, and just shoot me over an email. Let me know what you think. Or you can always put a comment in the description box so I know, and then I'll be able to take your comments and use them. So I am super pumped to be here. Let's get started with these questions. So I am going to just hopefully everybody can see me okay. I'm going to switch screens. So if I look down, that's why I'm looking down, because I'm looking at my questions here. So the first question that I want to consider today is depression curable? Short answer, yes. A slightly longer answer, which to the other part of the question, which is it curable by positive thinking or by medicine? Actually, that's kind of like a trick question, because the answer is both yes and no. Let me explain. So I define depression as an emotional pattern that requires a specific focus, language, and physiology. Actually, I'm not the person who defined how this emotional pattern is. I learned this from Tony Robbins, but I definitely think it applies. Any emotional pattern is held in place by these 3 things: focus, language, and physiology. And the pattern is also kind of solidified by the way that we meet our needs. So there's the 4 fundamental needs of every human being, which is certainty, connection, variety, and significance. So those 4 things everyone needs. So we will find whatever ways we can to meet them. And depression is actually a way for meeting those 4 needs. Because a lot of people find that they may not feel significant, but when they're depressed, They may get more attention, more support, so they feel more significant to people around them. They also may, for the same reason, feel connection. They feel connected. Oh, girl, you're depressed. I get it. I've been depressed too. And you can kind of commiserate. Also, we can find certainty in the fact that I know I can get depressed and take myself out of, maybe it's overwhelm or fear or some other emotion that is even more painful to us than depression is. And finally, variety means we can change our emotional state. So if we're feeling like, again, like very tense or nervous or stressed out, depression is a way to kind of calm our body down. And I know this sounds like it doesn't sound very positive for someone who's suffering from depression, but I have temporarily, at points in time in my life, suffered from depression. And this is in no way to make light of the suffering that's associated with it. But it is designed to help you to see that it's actually just a pattern that can easily be broken. So in the short term, positive thinking and positive thinking and medicine can break up depression because positive thinking changes your mental focus and it also changes the language that you use. And then for medicine, it changes your physiology because it does stuff. Those chemicals do things to your brain, to your body, to your nervous system that will temporarily calm or lessen the depression. However, in the long term, neither the medicine nor the positive thinking, thinking happy thoughts, putting yourself in a happy place, none of those really address the underlying issue, which is that vehicle, that blueprint, that way of seeing the world or giving the way that you attach meaning to things, especially the things that trigger your depression. If that blueprint, that belief system isn't addressed, then you will consistently need to be on depression medicine or consistently look for some new positive things to think about, but you won't actually address the issue. So depression, basically, I look at it and I use the analogy of a road and vehicles in your journey from where you are to where you want to go to. And really, to me, there's never an end destination. There may be one, but you're really just going on this journey through life. We never get done with meeting our goals or growing. We're always growing. We're always progressing. At least that's the hope. So there's a specific process that you can use to change that vehicle of depression that you use to meet your needs and find one that aligns more with your core values. And as you get to learn more and listen to some of the things I share more or read them, you will see that I speak about core values in every situation because core values are your core from which you build your structure, you follow the path that you need to follow to get to your destination. So I have a 6-step process. The first is to decide that you don't want to be depressed. So you just say, depression is not the vehicle that I want to take on this road that I'm on. I want to take a different vehicle. The second step then is to decide how you want to be instead and how you want to feel. So maybe it's that you're stressed out and you go to depression to kind of get yourself out of the stressed out feeling. You're just like, oh, nothing's going to work. I suck at everything. But maybe what you really want to feel is like, okay, this is overwhelming. This is too much for me. I can't handle all of this. I want to feel connected to my friends. I want to feel connected to someone who can help me through this, which is when you might go to a therapist, or you might talk to one of your friends, or you might go to your boss at work and explain the situation. But it takes you out of depression and into action. That's just an example of how you could switch it. The third step would be then to identify whatever emotions you'd really want to experience. So if it's hope, if it's determination, persistence, whatever it is that you would prefer to experience other than depression. And then fourth is to relate those emotions to your core values. Like for me, one of my core values is to always be happy and healthy. So If I'm always trying to be happy and healthy, then I'm not going to want to choose depression. I'm going to want to choose joy or exuberance or passion or one of those emotions that I really want to experience no matter how sucky my situation gets. So when you really focus on your core values, it helps you to make sure that you're picking emotions that really align with you and not somebody else. And then fifth, once you've isolated those emotions and make sure that they relate to your core values, you create a system to generate those emotions on cue. What do I mean by on cue? Like for me, I know I have a couple playlists that I can hit play, and I know that I'm going to go to a different place emotionally. I'm not going to be able to be depressed. There are other triggers that you can do. For me, another one that's really powerful is tone of voice. So there's a specific tone of voice that's associated with depression. Do I sound depressed to you right now? I certainly hope not. It's really, really hard to speak the way that I'm speaking right now and be depressed. It's just really challenging. Do you see the way I'm holding my head, the way I'm moving, the energy in my voice? That's not associated with depression. So when you're feeling really down and depressed, like no one cares and you're just in the depths of despair, change your voice and see what happens. And maybe you don't change it to joy and exuberance. Maybe you just change it to angry first, and then you can laugh at yourself. So that's an idea of how you can kind of change your vehicle from depression. And basically after you do it enough times, rinse and repeat is the final step. Step 6 is to rinse and repeat, basically do it over and over and over again. And then you start to build that muscle of being able to change your emotional state. And then it no longer is a pattern for you. And that would be the way that I would coach you to cure your depression. Okay? That's me being real. So question number 2 is, and if you have any thoughts, just put them in the chat, and as soon as I'm done with these questions, I'll get to them. Is, what if I put my authentic self out there and no one likes me? Again, short answer, not possible. So I want you to think about this for a minute. Think back to the last week or month. Was there somebody that you met at work, at the grocery store, at the DMV that just the second you saw them, they passed by you, they came up to you, whatever the situation, you just knew you didn't like them? You didn't even know them. You don't even know their name, where they're from, or anything, but you just knew that you didn't like them. It's happened to everyone. Why didn't you like them? Well, some of it can be conscious or unconscious bias, but a lot of it can be based on intuition. It's just how someone makes you feel. You just sense that something's not quite congruent there. And it's hard to sometimes put your finger on it because you don't know the person, but you just feel a certain feeling. Because something about them is just not authentic. You don't know what, but you know something's not right. And so this applies the other way as well. So have you ever met someone who it's like their way of dressing or their way of speaking or something about them is just like completely off from what you consider appropriate or what you normally are drawn to, but you cannot help but be drawn to that person? So that is the other side of it, because I bet you what that person has done is they're completely congruent and they're wearing it with confidence. They're 100% authentically being themselves, and they're owning it. And because of that, even though you might normally not gravitate to them based on some outward appearance, you do gravitate to them because you're drawn to their authenticity, to their realness, for another way of putting it. And so that's kind of like the difference. When you think about putting your authentic self out there, there's really nothing to fear. And I give the illustration of a Gucci handbag. Okay, we know Gucci handbags can cost thousands of dollars, the authentic Gucci handbags. But a knockoff, you probably could get at a street vendor for maybe 20 or 30 bucks. So what's the difference? is because there is value in getting the authentic product. And if you think about it, it's also similar. Like some people, like many of you, and I know myself, have zero interest in ever purchasing a Gucci handbag. It's just not something that I would ever do. However, maybe if someone had a friend or a loved one who had a Gucci handbag fetish, even though they themselves didn't like it, they might go out and buy a Gucci handbag for their friend. Is it because they didn't like that they love Gucci? No, it's because they recognize that that's the authentic bag and they want to give that to their friend. And so it's similar with you. You are the authentic Gucci handbag. So there's no other that can compare to you. So when you bring your authentic self, yes, it's true, not everyone is going to love you, but pretty much most people will respect you. And even if they don't necessarily care for what you're about, if there's something that you're giving or offering that other people that they know might find useful, they'll still refer them to you because they recognize that you're the real deal. So I hope that answers that question. And then the third question, I'm running a little behind here, sorry guys, is how do I move forward in a healthy way with my life now that I've lost blank? So blank could be a person, a, a status, a position, a job, whatever it may be that's in that blank. So the short answer is flip the question from what now that I've lost blank to now that I've gained blank. Well, what do I mean? The key to dealing with any kind of loss, whatever it is to find the lesson. Change the way you see it from being a loss to being a gain. What did I gain? Where is the good in this? Who will I become because this has happened? Those are far, far, far more powerful questions to ask than, oh, how do I cope with what I've lost? Don't cope. Please, don't cope. Create. Don't deal with, design. Take charge of the situations in your life that you have zero control over and what they mean to you. Take charge of their meaning to you so that you can create the life that you want and you can become more of who you want to be. So here, I have a really short process. I'm going to go through this quickly because I'm running a little over. It's basically 7 steps. First is you close your eyes and you really visualize and step into the person that you want to be. Really embody that person in your head. Really feel that person. Who is that person? Then you ask yourself, what kinds of beliefs would that person need to have in order to live in that space on a daily basis? So in that space of whatever it may be, joy, bliss, peacefulness, abundance, whatever that is for you. And it may be multiple things, but it's usually easier to focus on one thing at a time so that the exercise doesn't get overwhelming. So after you've asked what kinds of beliefs that person would need to have, then ask, well, where's the gap between that person's beliefs and my current beliefs? Then here is a really important point. Step 4, most people miss this. And this is so important. You have to give yourself permission to pursue bridging the gap. I will go into giving yourself permission in great detail in the future because it's such a big point that most people don't get, because we give permission to our parents, our teachers, our boss, our friends. We give permission to pretty much everyone else to make decisions about how we're going to live our life, and we don't give the permission to ourselves, and that's very important. We have to get permission. If we don't get permission, we feel like we're in rebellion, resistance with ourselves. It just doesn't go where it needs to go, and it burns a lot of bandwidth. So you have to give yourself permission. 5th, remind yourself of your core values back there, and that you want to be the person this way. So that person that you visualize in your head in step 1, you have to remind yourself that that's who I want to be. No one's making me do this. This is something that I want for me, and these are the reasons why. because that's what's going to help that shift in meaning to stick. And then, just to kind of give yourself that pep rally to make sure that you stay moving forward, remind yourself of times in the past when you've lost something and you thought it was the worst thing, the end of the world, things were going to end. I don't know, someone drove over your homework paper, you broke your leg right before the big competition, whatever it may be, that you got to the other side of and you realized, oh, that was such a blessing. I'm so glad that guy dumped me. He was a nutcase. I would have been a mess if I had married him, whatever the situation may be. And so finally, we go back to creating a system to support that step 7, to support that meaning that you need to adopt concerning this so-called loss that we're now calling a gain, so that you can reinforce it until it becomes natural. So when it becomes natural and when you really kind of can flow with it and you can, it's not so much work to do it anymore, then you just keep doing it and you don't think about it anymore. But at the beginning, you kind of need to go through these steps and do them again, rinse and repeat, keep doing them, keep practicing them, and then it gets easier each time you do it. So those are my 3 A's to the Q's that I had received earlier. And now I'm wondering, wow. I am wondering if you have any questions. So please leave them in the chat box. Otherwise, what I will do is I'm going to post this as a replay, this video, and you'll be able to come and view it anytime you like and leave some answers leave some questions for me. You can also email me, Deborah at honeybee-u.com. And I will go ahead and leave that also in the description before I send out the replay. So please leave me some comments here in this channel. You can now subscribe to this channel because this is the actual business channel. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And thank you so much for your time. Final thing I just remembered to say is that if you're interested in joining the Transitionary Girl 21-day authenticity challenge, please, again, either email me or leave a comment below and let me know that you're interested, and I will go ahead and sign you up to get notification when we start the challenge. So please, that's a 21-day challenge. Let me tell you something very briefly about it. So each weekday, for 21 days, we're going to be investigating another aspect of authenticity. So it's just a chance to dive deep. We're going to take 5 minutes a day and just either write something down or shoot a quick video or whatever is comfortable for you to share your responses to a brief exercise. And I will share those exercises with you on a daily basis and invite you to respond and then also to support others' responses so we can really develop a sense of community. And I really want to get to know each of you from the aspect of authenticity on a deeper level. I know you from personally in general from different arenas in my life, but I really want to stay focused on how we can kind of, I guess, ask ourselves those really important questions and see whether it can help us as individuals and as a group to kind of grow together, because that's what this is all about. This is all about us and growth and being able to pass on what we've learned so that we can help make the world a better place, for lack of a cheesier description, right? So I am going to sign off now. Much love to you. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so grateful for you. And I look forward to talking with you, meeting up with you, and working with you in the near future. So take care.